Android 14 is here. What's new and how you can install the developer version? By surprise, although suspecting that in February it would arrive, Android 14 has just landed in its first version for developers. The successor to Android 13 can already be installed on the Google Pixel, even being in preliminary phase, and lets you see all the new features that Google is preparing for its new operating system. Android 14, what's new? Android 14 comes packed with new features, under the name Upside Down Cake. First of all, we find improvements in accessibility. Fonts are even larger so that any user with certain vision problems can see the screen correctly. Specifically, we can scale font sizes up to 200% compared to the previous 130%. The system, starting with this version, will send us a notification when we are going to install an application that has been developed with an old API level. The message is the one we already knew, that this app has been developed for an old version of Android, but now will warn when the API level of 27 lower, compared to the old limit of API 22. Another interesting feature of this version is that we will not have to give permissions to apps to access the gallery. We can give access only to selected photos. This will prevent apps from being able to see our entire gallery, and we will be the ones to tell them which ones they can access. There have also been improvements in terms of user profiles. If we have enabled a second profile on the phone, for example, for our child to use, we will be able to obtain a history of phone calls and text messages sent. Small changes also in the battery screen. The screen time will finally be highlighted below the battery graph, and in the last versions it was a basic data that we did not have access to so quickly. The system is also testing something we saw in Asian ROMs years ago, application cloning. This will allow us to have two Facebook accounts, Telegram and so on, in separate apps. Speaking of apps, we will be able to delete bloatware easily. Visually, there are hardly any changes. This is a first version for developers that will serve as a sketch to polish the final version. Being a first version, it will be necessary to unlock the bootloader and flash the ROM via fastboot. If you have never performed the process, we leave you the steps below. However, we warn you that it is a procedure with certain risks. From a computer, download the system image according to your device. You can find it on the Google website. Unzip the downloaded file, connect the mobile to the computer via cable. On the mobile, make sure you have the developer options active and enable OEM unlock and USB debugging. Turn on the phone in fast boot mode. Unlock, if necessary, the phone's bootloader. Open a command prompt and locate the directory where you unzip the downloaded file with the system image. Run the flash all script, and you will have the Android 14 version on your phone.